chickens! I know it's been a minute, but if you follow me on my TikTok, then you know that I have been busy trying to move this month, and it has been quite the experience. I've never done it to this extent before, so we're gonna talk about it. As far as the Big Sister series goes, I know a couple of people are like, are you not doing it anymore? I am, but I have like 3 spoons for this whole month, and the Big Sister series involves like some planning and like, you know, logistics and stuff. Like I can't just sit down like I'm doing here and just do my makeup and talk at the camera. So we will be back as soon as I move in and get settled in my new place. But for right now, we're just gonna chit chat and do my makeup. I was not expecting to get PR from One Size. I haven't gotten makeup PR in a minute, besides like ColourPop always just like keep that thing going. It's on auto renew, and I appreciate them for that, and I love ColourPop. But One Size, I have not got to try a lot of their products. One, because I'm always trying to be smart with my money, so I don't really buy makeup all that much. But 2, a lot of their stuff always gets sold out right away, and I don't have the patience to be, you know, like constantly checking the Sephora app to see if it's back. But I'm so lucky and blessed to have been put on their PR list, and I'm so excited to try some of these products. This one is the setting powder that's pink. I've always wanted to try the pink setting powders that are out there. Here she is. I can't wait to see. It looks, to me, like the pink setting powder looks gorgeous on darker skin. It really brightens up their face and their skin. So I'm interested to see what it looks like on my skin. I don't know if it'll like do anything different. Then we also have the Turn Up the Base Versatile Foundation Powder. This is their Stage White. Apparently it's a big deal that this has been now been made in Stage White. I think you like put it, I read on the like card that came with the package that you just like kind of put it like underneath your eyes, a little bit on your nose, like if you want like that kind of like intense highlight. We have a primer here, the Secure the Blur. I usually use a like luminous primer, so I'm excited to try this matte one. It's a makeup magnet primer. Fills pores and fine lines. Skin looks and feels smoother. Attracts makeup like a magnet. I also have a wedding to do, like wedding makeup to do this weekend, and I can't wait to try this on my clients to see if maybe like there's a difference. Like I can ask them afterwards, gonna be like, do you think your makeup like stayed on really well? Then we have waterproof liquid eyeliner. I didn't even know One Size made all this stuff. This is my preferred way to put on liquid eyeliner, one of these like pens that look like markers. I think it's the best way to put on liquid eyeliner, especially if you're not like a pro at it, or like I have a tremor, like I have shaky hands, so it's easier for me to put on that way rather than like the flicky tip. And then also a mascara. Okay, their packaging, I don't know what it is about it. It is just so satisfying to hold in your hand, the weight of it and everything. This is what the brush looks like. I mean, I'm like weird with mascaras because my eyelashes are dinky as fuck and they don't really hold any sort of anything. That's why I wear falsies all the time. So we'll see how it works. And then their highly coveted 3D blush trio. This is in the name Cheek Clapper. Okay, period. And I really love this. I really love this color trio, like this like very pretty subdued pink. I'm excited to try all these out, and we're gonna do that right now. Right, we're starting out with the primer, okay? I haven't used a matte primer in so long. But anyway, so yeah, so this has been quite a month of trying to figure out a move. Me and Carter's whole thing at the beginning of this move, this month, was that we didn't want to live in the city. We wanted to live slightly upstate, like in one of the towns that are like maybe a half hour to 40 minutes outside of the city. And that was our main goal. And it failed spectacularly. It's mostly because right now, Carter and I both don't have the most steady jobs. Like we're doing very much the like gig work, like cause he's an actor, so he has like 1,000 jobs to make, you know, enough money to live. And I, as an influencer, you know, like your money, your income is never guaranteed and almost never steady until, you know, you're a bigwig. So it was just really hard to like have a budget. And then the thing about moving slightly upstate would be that because Carter still works in the city and like I would be, you know, traveling to the city for other things and like just like seeing friends and stuff, like we'd have to buy monthly tickets on the train up there, which were like an extra $300. So it just didn't work out. And the most annoying thing was that like in the months leading up to when we were gonna like actually be like looking, like physically going in person to look at apartments, I was finding on Zillow and StreetEasy all these like beautiful, amazing apartments that had like, that were like within a decent price range, decent for New York. Like we initially wanted a 2-bedroom so that we could have like, you know, a place to sleep and then a room for us to like have our desks and like I could make content in the room or whatever. And all those places I found, but then as soon as it hit October 1st and it was time for us to start looking, they were all gone. They were all gone. And then I found out, you know, via my friends that like this is kind of like a hard time period to be looking. Like people typically move in like the summer and the late summer, which I don't understand because why the hell would you want to move in the summer? But like that's when all the best places are gonna be available. And so we got the extras. Okay. So we looked at a couple of places upstate, but then quickly figured out that like it's just probably not gonna happen. It's not in the cards this year at this juncture in our lives. So then we just started looking back in the city, which is another whole fucking thing in itself. So then we had to start like making concessions and like being like, okay, I guess we don't need a 2-bedroom. We can find a roomy 1-bedroom. And even that is asking too much. A roomy 1-bedroom, as if that exists. Like we even saw a 2-bedroom that was smaller than some 1-bedrooms we saw. Like, you know, you can imagine what it's like to look for apartments in New York City. What foundation am I gonna use? I think I'm gonna use the NARS Light Reflecting. I haven't used her in a minute and she's one of my faves. The like most annoying thing that we came up against eventually, like wasn't happening at first when we were looking for places, but eventually it kind of caught up to us, was the fact that we, like most people, don't make 40 times the rent that we had as our budget. Don't get me started. Like as if anyone does make 40 times the rent living in New York City. Very few people do. And the funny thing is that like the places that we were looking that were like, you have to make 40 times the rent. We're like, why would someone that makes 40 times this rent live in this area? The like median rent that most people would pay, you have, so 80 times the rent means like at least 100,000 a year. So anyone that's making 100,000 a year in New York, chances are they're not going to be living in these areas, you know? But then again, there was that whole like New York Times, I think it was, article that came out that like everyone had a shit show over about how like $100,000 isn't that much to make when you live in New York City. And everyone like lost their ever-loving minds about it because they were like, because it's understandably like makes you mad, because if you're someone that lives in the Midwest and makes, you know, 30,000 a year and struggles, you're gonna see that and go like, ugh, these New Yorkers. But it's like, I just came back from the grocery store and a box of cereal was $8, not even a family size. I went to go buy a box of Cheez-Its and I had to put it back because it was $7 and change. So like when you are living in a city where those are the prices for food and the median price for rent is like, I believe like statistically it's like $4,000 or something like that, your $100,000 does not go far. So it's just like the fact that these realtors are like, you have to make $100,000 a year in order to afford this. Hello? And it's like crazy because it's like, why would we try to rent an apartment that we know we can't afford the rent to? Like just because we don't make 40 times the rent doesn't mean we can't afford it. Right? Like it's all just nonsense. So that's kind of what we were up against, kind of dealing with. And I don't know how I feel about how this primer is working with this foundation. I checked online and the light reflecting foundation is water-based as well as the primer. So I don't know. It's also hard to tell with my lighting and everything if that's the problem, or I'm just hot and my cheeks turn like fuchsia pink when they're hot. So maybe that's just what's happening. Okay, I put on some bronzer. I sprayed my face, but now we're gonna try out the pink setting powder. I have the translucent one and I use that on all my clients. Love her. Okay, moment of truth, y'all. Let's see. Listen, it's an incredible powder, just period. I don't think the color matters, at least for me. Like I said, I've noticed on darker skin tones that the pink setting powder just looks phenomenal. I don't know that it makes much of a difference. Pour moi. But the powder itself is incredible. So now we're gonna do the blush trio. I don't even remember where I was in my story time. Oh, just, you know, being poor and such. Oh, that is a really beautiful color. Oh, I love how into blush people are getting. Like for a while, people were very anti-blush. I know because I do makeup for weddings and I would have people be like, I don't want any blush. And I'd be like, what did blush ever do to you? And like, why do you want to look like a corpse? Especially for a wedding where you're gonna have like, you know, pictures and stuff. Don't you want to look alive? You just want bronzer? Okay. The Kardashian effect. But now people are getting back into blush and it warms my little heart. Pinks my little cheeks. Eventually, like after looking and, you know, talking to this realtor, that realtor, you know, looking at some places and being very disappointed, we finally found a place that we were really excited about. 2 in one day. One that was like, all right, you know, it was nice. Nothing crazy, but it was nice. Didn't have literally anything we were looking for, but it had space. Like it was spacious. Okay? And then the place that we saw afterwards was so darling, so cute. It was a 1-bedroom, it had like character to it. Like I love a New York City apartment that has character to it. I remember the apartment that I live in now with my roommate, like when we first saw it, I was like, oh, I love this place. It had like fireplaces. They don't work, but like, you know, they're pretty decorative. And, you know, they had like, you know, like old style molding. Like it's a pre-war building, but you know, it's not really kept up too nice, not crazy nicely, but it has character, and that's what I love. And this apartment that we saw, we loved. It had black and white tiling all over the bathroom, and like this really cool like see-through clear tiles, and it had like this gorgeous giant black kitchen tiled island. Like it was huge, and the kitchen had like cute cabinets, not the usual like nonsense that landlords like don't try to update or anything like that. And when we went to go see the place, the person that was living there was still there, and I've never been in that situation before, like having to view an apartment while the person's still living there. So it feels like you're kind of like encroaching on them, and it's a little uncomfy. So you kind of just want to like get in and get out. So we didn't, like, we just saw it and thought it was so cute, and when we left we were like, oh, this is it. This is what we need. This is it. This is ours. I'm gonna try this. I still don't understand what the point of it is, the turn up the base foundation powder. Because I remember reading that like putting it like under your eye for an extra bit of oomph. Not my French teacher DMing me. My French teacher from high school sometimes will react to my DMs.
That's hilarious.
Love you, Madame Portal. Okay. There's definitely a brightening difference. You have dry under eyes. This definitely would not be pourvu. There is a brightening effect going on. Yeah, I like it. I like it. So anyway, so we apply for this apartment, and we're like, we are like, let's go, let's get all our shit in, let's get this apartment. And also important to the story is that it is a co-op. So those are notoriously a little bit more difficult to get into because they screen people a little bit more than just like, can you afford it? They asked us like 1,000 questions. It was like probably almost close to a week of this nonsense. Cut to, we do get accepted. And y'all, it was the craziest phenomenon because we had to do a Zoom meeting with the owner of the building. He wanted to like meet us face to face. Again, this is the kind of stuff you deal with co-ops. And he talked to us for a little bit, and then he was like, all right, let's go ahead. You know, like, I feel good about this. If you guys feel good about this, like, let's do it. We were like, okay, great. And then we hung up, and then I called Carter right back, and I was like, yay, we got a place, baby, exciting. But then like when I hung up with him, I remember thinking to myself, like, why don't I feel like completely relieved? Like, why don't I feel like, thank God, like all my troubles have gone, they've vanished. Like, I don't feel in the pit of my stomach like this is the right decision. But I notoriously am bad at listening to my gut. I am an anxious person, so it's hard for me to know when my anxiety is talking or if it's like my gut instinct. So eventually I push it down because I'm like, okay, well, I have put this on like a high like pedestal, kind of like once we find a place to live, everything will be okay. But I have other things to be stressed about, so maybe just like that's, you know, what's going through my mind is that I'm still stressed about everything else I got going on, and it has nothing to do with the apartment, right? So I go about my night. I literally like snuggle down into bed, preparing to go to sleep, and I close my eyes, and all of a sudden, it was like out of a movie. I shot up out of bed like, and I go, we've made a huge mistake. Uh-oh, we've made a huge mistake. And I started thinking to myself, like, we can't live in this apartment. And I start thinking about how, backtrack. Before I went to bed, I had been talking to Carter again, discussing everything that's going on. And when I talked to him again, he was like, oh, I was showing my family the listing, and I didn't realize that the apartment was 450 square feet. And I went, really? That's so strange. It doesn't feel that small when you're in it. But that's 450 square feet is pretty small for two people. So I think that was like on my brain, and like we're both bringing our like respective cats together into a space. So we're like, it's not just a space for two people, it's a space for two people and two cats. And mind you that like we both do a lot of work from home, and we need space to like, I need space to make videos, and he needs space to also do like self-tapes for acting and like have his like little workspace for writing and doing his D&D campaign. So like we needed enough space to be able to have a workspace for me and a workspace for him, which is hard in a one bedroom, but that was our main need. So I started thinking to myself, like, so when I shot up in bed like, oh my God, I thought to myself, there's no way we can live in this apartment. There's no space. And then I went back to the listing after I shot up in bed, like freaking out. I went back to the listing and I realized there's no closets. Didn't realize that on the first walkthrough. And so I'm like, oh my God, there's no closets. I have so many clothes. So many clothes and shoes and shit like that. Carter has a decent amount, you know, like he doesn't have nothing, but like he doesn't have as much as me. But like, I was like, hey, hang on a second. And like the fact that like we wouldn't be able to like host literally anyone. There's no room. You can only have like a small love seat, no extra chairs. Just like, it was the craziest phenomenon where like when we saw this place, it was like we were just so taken by the charm of it, and the building itself had like crazy amenities. Like it had laundry in unit, it was on the second floor, it had an elevator, it had a really nice laundry room that included like a recycling program and a clothing drop, and it had like a garbage chute right outside of our apartment. And coming from both of us having apartments with no amenities, it was like, wow, this is amazing. And we were just like taken in by like how darling it was, that we like completely and totally forgot about our needs. We're trying out the eyeliner. I'm sure it'll be great, and pretty much like any other eyeliner. Oh yeah, that's sharp. That's nice. That has a nice application. See? So yeah, cut to, it's 2 a.m. I'm freaking out. All of my friends are asleep. Carter's asleep, and I start having a panic attack because I'm like, what do we do now? It's like, you know, it's about to be the middle of the month, and then we had to go away for the weekend for a wedding. And so we were gonna lose some days of being able to like look at places and this and that. So I was like freaking out. Mind you, another little piece of info is that we had also applied to the apartment we saw before this one that we loved. The one I said that like was nice, just didn't have like really any amenities, but it had space and it had like a lot of light, a lot of sunlight, a lot of space, and like a pretty decently sized kitchen. Like it has like goodness to it. Oh, it has dishwasher, one amenity. One that I have lived without for a while, so it will be nice to have a dishwasher. Let's try out the mascara. So we applied for that apartment too, but it was like so on the back burner because we didn't really want that one. Okay, we used the mascara and it performs like most mascaras. Like it's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just that like my eyelashes don't hold a curl. They don't really look that much different with mascara. So I do like it. It's pretty normal. What eyelashes am I gonna use? So to make a long story short, there was a whole thing and we eventually ended up passing on the apartment we loved because it just made the most sense. But we did a very like Hail Mary because we weren't fully approved for the first apartment, the one that doesn't have as many amenities but is like larger. But and Carter was very worried about that because my situation is that my roommate is staying in our apartment, but he has to move. So on the first, like he has to be out. I don't have the same like feeling of urgency because I can kind of move out whenever within reason. So I was like, we have to let go of this apartment, we have to. And he was nervous, but I was like, hey, we're gonna get through it. We're gonna be okay. Even if this other apartment falls through, we will find another place. It'll be okay. And look it, we got the original place that we saw, the first place. And I'm really excited about it. I am, because it's, like I said, it's nothing fancy. It doesn't have a lot of character, but that leaves so much room for us to create our own character in our space. And like I said, a huge thing that's really important to me was that it has so much light. It's so bright and like airy in there. And it's all just very exciting because neither of us have lived with a partner to this extent before. It's kind of like, we're gonna be creating a home together. Let's take this stuff out. And even though we, are not living where we kind of wanted to, intended to, it's okay because we'll still be very close to our friends, my family, and our neighborhood is very adorable, very darling. Out is looking good. thus far. This is the first time I have blown out my hair, like truly like put in the effort to blow it out since getting it done. So I really wanted to see what it was gonna look like with a full blowout. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so this is the final look. Hope you enjoyed the update. Stay tuned for more moving vids, for more moving updates. I'm really excited to show everyone the evolution of our little home together. And yeah, so thanks for hanging out with me. I love you.